Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Hey, what's up, Canada and beyond? Thank you for tuning in. It is Saturday, April 27th. I'm streaming at 6 p.m. Central Time here in North America, wherever you're tuning in from. Thank you for watching. I want to kind of get myself into some newer habits here today. Today is going to be a bit of a special show in a couple of different ways. I even, put my best shirt on, but two things that are a little bit different tonight. No guest. It's just you and me, my friends, and it's all good news today. An entire show jam packed front to back with good news and exciting stuff, solutions, things to update everybody on, which is highly unusual. So, we're celebrating a little bit tonight. So, as you all know, my content is always free, guys. Your support, reading, watching, sharing is deeply, deeply appreciated. For those of you that support financially or through subscription, I'm eternally grateful, as are the people that depend on this platform to get the information that they need and that they trust from places and people that they trust. This is the kind of the point of me being alone tonight. I don't have an expert to lean on, so you guys will be getting quotes and news and stories that I've accumulated, put together, and assembled over the week. And a couple that I almost completely missed, and you guys deserve to celebrate some of them. So, without further ado, I'm going to head right into the newsroom with some of the stuff that I think people are eagerly anticipating. Guys, I'm calling for an early election. I don't think that Mr. Farquaad makes it to 2025 for an election. And I'm going to cycle through a bunch of things here in the next first couple of minutes. Again, tonight, guys, there's no bad news tonight in this show. It's all going to be great stuff. This is something that almost slipped by me, but there are shenanigans afoot in the House of Commons, and this there's some discussion going on about a forced election. So, Mr. Sunshine Baby, although I got to thank him for sitting through endless hours of CPAC and pulling out these nuggets and the evidence to corroborate them. So I've got first thing I've got for us tonight here is a little clip on why Mr. Trudeau might be behaving as he is. Well, I guarantee that's why he's behaving like he is, and some things to watch for in the very near future. So we'll start with this little clip tonight.
Up, we have Andrew Scheer saying breaking news: Trudeau has 3 weeks left to call an emergency carbon tax meeting with provincial premiers as ordered by Parliament. Welcome to the big leagues, kiddo. 7 provincial premiers and 70% of Canadians are opposed to the carbon tax. Trudeau wants to quadruple it. Pierre Poilievre will axe the tax. Motion text that the House note that the federal carbon tax is causing a debate in the country, and B, that while Quebec, British Columbia, and the Northwest Territories already have their own system in place, the government mandates carbon tax policy, that the House call on the Prime Minister to convene an emergency carbon tax and tarification meeting with Canada's 14 First Ministers, and that this meeting be publicly televised and held within 5 weeks of this motion adopted. So that was on April 10th. So he has 3 weeks left. This is awesome.
All right, so I'm going to start with that and kind of give you guys a point of reference to start watching this. What the Conservatives are doing, you're trying to go is trying to go around the government and force an election through some of the bills that are coming through, and they put a timestamp in there. And over the next couple of weeks, you're really going to see things jacking up, because the last thing on earth Mr. Trudeau wants to do is to meet with all of the members, the first members, aka the premiers of each of the provinces, and he lost again today, or should I say surrendered, on the carbon tax issue to Saskatchewan. So congratulations, Saskatchewan and Scott Moe. who gave Trudeau the big middle finger on collecting the carbon taxes, and Trudeau threatened to withhold Saskatchewan people's repayment. So Trudeau lost on that, and Saskatchewanites are going to get their repayment of carbon taxes, and Mr. Moe will not be collecting them. Kind of along in that vein there, but the carbon tax will break the Trudeau government, and Trudeau is running around on this massive spending spree to try and prop up the illusion of support. And I'm going to key into that here in just a minute, but I've got another clip pulled up here that some of you guys may have heard a little bit about, but I'm going to connect it to a couple of more dots. So bear with me on listening to Mr. Trudeau for a few seconds here. All right, guys. This we're going to Street Politics Canada for a portion of this clip.
People qualify for mortgages and get a place of their own sooner, he claims.
Let's talk about credit scores. Wait, don't scroll. This is important. A credit score is basically a rating that banks and financial institutions assign to you to determine how responsible you are with money. Like, do you pay your bills on time? So when it comes time for you to ask for a loan, like applying for a mortgage so you can buy your first home, they'll check your credit score. Having a good credit score means they can offer you a better mortgage, which will give you more choice when buying a home, more options to choose from, because the bank trusts you to pay it back. For most young people, the biggest and most important payment you make is on rent. And if you've been paying that on time for years, that should count towards your credit score. I think it should work to your advantage.
Okay, I can only suffer a minute of this fool, but basically attaching a behavior index score to young people's behavior in order to guarantee them, easier access to having a place of their own one day. And this is where I'm going to add or pile on to the level of the arrogance, ignorance, and the Trudeauing and the scam, communist, fascism, public private partnership, whatever you want to call it. This next one will make a lot of it make sense. Why does he want to incentivize youth to rent? Because he is going to create nonprofits to buy apartment buildings to the tune of $1.5 billion. So he's going to create we all know what nonprofits and non-governmental organizations are. Basically money laundering. This is remember the article a couple of weeks ago with the police saying people are not in Canada are about to become feral because they're realizing they're going to own nothing and won't be so happy. This is what this is what we mean by owning nothing, guys. The NGOs will own the properties, and you'll get a score to behave properly within them. And if you are a good enough little Stasi, then you'll be able to stay, probably, if you're on the universal basic income. And all of these, so the rent thing, sorry, I see this here, Daniel, in case you missed that. I could only stomach about a minute of Trudeau, but they want to attach a credit score to renters registry. So landlords would be able to report whether you're a good tenant or not to the government and attach a credit score to your renting responsibility. And I've been a renter a good portion of my life, and if you're a renter, it's because you can't afford to be an owner, and typically it's a long ways from that, and people that rent tends to be forced to move around rent where they rent and live because they have absolutely no control over where they live. So that's in a nutshell, Daniel, what it is there Trudeau wants to attach a credit score to your personal responsibility index. Yeah, the what is it? The the credit score, the behavior index, the Chinese credit score system. All of these things we talked a little bit about this last night. With the digital ID, the QR code passports, but these are all things that Trudeau is flying around the country, throwing money, trying to bribe votes. And it's my assessment that because I don't trust the election process, that I don't believe that our elections are not stolen. Their goal is to create the illusion of support, and so when he wins the next election, the media and all of the experts will say, "See, we told you so. We told you. All that last minute spending did it. They he earned this victory, so you got to endure another 4 years of Trudeau." But um, politics is kind of like, I was thinking about this earlier. Politics is kind of like sitting on the bank of the river, watching the river go by, and the tides come in and out, and you don't want to get in the river because it's full of piranhas, and so it's just kind of you don't want to catch any of them because you might become a piranha. Like it's just kind of crazy, but I think there's some realists in the room that are watching the ship sail and on good ship Trudeau, and they're about done with it, and we're seeing the parties implode. People are it's the liberal way. I mentioned this several months ago. We were entering the sacrificial lamb season, and that's what we're seeing: jockeying and jousting and trying to reassemble, and they're in panic and scramble mode, and some people are getting while the getting is good. And so here's an indicator of the tides turning. So the NDP's uh, adults in the room are fleeing. That's just the latest group. They're not even fleeing as individuals; they're fleeing in groups, and so that's another indicator that we're heading into another election coming up. The liberals are really scrambling because the globalists are really scrambling, but that's a whole other story for another day. I was going to get into tonight why the WHO pandemic treaty is absolutely going sideways on them. It's definitely a mess. We're not going to have time to get into that one here tonight, though. But that's all right. We'll get into that in the next couple of days, guys. On that, I'm just going to drop a tidbit in there. If you're not following James Roguski, I suggest finding him and getting plugged in on him. That pandemic treaty is the existential threat to everything at this moment as we know it. But back to the election that I expect is coming. Trudeau is campaigning for all he's worth. Polyev has been for a while. That's another subject altogether. But this little nugget comes to us from Quebec, from the Gazette, and this is where things are going to change the scope of things. This is not going to be an election like any other we have ever seen before. The head of separation is rearing in Quebec, and oops, how'd that get in there? But yeah, the referendum to separate from Quebec is coming to life again in Quebec, and it's coming back to life apparently even in more radical fashion than it did when we held our last referendum in 1997. And this time around, some 25 years, 27 years later, I think the discussion will be incredibly different than it was before, specifically for some things that are being dropped in the public space. Daniel, when are you running? Not a snowball's hope in hell am I running for politics, my friend, because I cannot lie. I actually serve the people, and they would take me out before I would take them out. So the kid just can't happen. I just can't jump in with the piranhas, but I can absolutely rid the river of the piranhas. I'm far more effective in this role than I am in politics. But back to the Quebec party's or the Quebec sentiment for separation. This is where things are going to change this time around, guys. If you're paying attention to Danielle Smith, she has said it a couple of times, and they're referring to the same thing. When Danielle Smith is making these dramatic changes to policy in Alberta and saying it worked for Quebec, it's working for Quebec. She's been saying this time and time and time again. That's because they're speaking about a gray spot. Trudeau refers to it as the Quebec problem. The Quebec problem and the same gray area that Danielle Smith is reaching into when she says it worked for Quebec, because Quebec, the leaders of Quebec understand what state our sovereignty is or is not in. They understand the power of de facto, and they have been blackmailing the country for the last 90 years with exactly that. And that's where this come on, do an Iceland, Canada is coming from, because that's what Iceland realized and fixed in 2011. So we're going to be doing a special on that really, really soon, because Canada is far better off looking at doing an Iceland than attempting to find remedy within this political system. And that is not so much because of the system itself, but because of the lack of integrity within the system. So at the end of the day, it boils down to the people. And if we're truly to be sovereign, then the country has to be run by the people. And here's just one little tidbit. You can go and research this, but our documentation, our constitution, has a notwithstanding clause in it. It's the only country on the planet that has a notwithstanding clause in it. What does that notwithstanding clause means? It means if our controllers don't like what Canada is doing, they can pull a plug on it and say, no, no, you don't, Canada. We're not going to let you do that. So are we really sovereign? It's an important question, a very important question, guys. And Iceland solved that question, although they turned around and jumped right back into the river with the piranhas 10 years later because of the NGOs, nonprofits, and lobbyists. But they did fix their situation. So if we want to get rid of the controllers, this is the way the discussion is going to happen. If Quebec rears the discussion of separation, this time around, there's going to be a whole lot more educated folks around the country that understand what this discussion really means, and what the opportunities that can arrive from that, including becoming debt-free in whatever territory or province or nation you ultimately end up in. So these are some things that are going to dramatically change the political landscape over this coming election. The Liberals are in free for all. Jagmeet, he's just another meat muppet. At the end of the day, all he wants is his pension. Now that he's going to have secured that, thanks to the alterations that Trudeau has attempted or is putting through the House. I'm not sure exactly what the status of that is, changing the election to make sure that they get their pension before the election, which is another scam and fraud and flat out theft, if you ask me. But that's the Trudeauing of the week. So the next story, guys, I'm going to do a little switching up. Is kind of an update story, and it's a precedent-setting story, and it's a story that we covered here exclusively. And this is not a conclusion to this story, but an object. It was a touchdown and a conversion. They won this round, and so we're going to hear from a dear friend of ours, a dear group of friends of ours that have had a victory on your behalf. So this is from, uh, if you recognize her, Lanny Roulard, Lanny the lawyer. This is a big story. They were in court on Wednesday. This one almost slipped by me, guys. As far as for this, I wasn't there, but Mocha was there and was able to get an interview on site with Lanny and hear right from the horse's mouth what happened there. This clip is great because there's some other people talking in this clip. So this is something I don't usually do, but I'm going to play this whole 8 minutes, guys, and listen to some of the people here because this is a victory story for you. When Lanny first came to me with uh, their plight, they were looking to find witnesses to what was going on in the courts. She believed that would make a difference. It would make an impact. And although I haven't had a chance to really talk to Lanny about this is a critical case going on in Alberta. And if you're not familiar with Lanny, picture Jordan Peterson with a law degree. Lanny has a master's in law as well as a master's in psychology. So she herself has been battling the entire uh, army of the establishment, the corrupt establishment, on her own with her out of her little practice in Sylvan Lake, Saskatchewan. So we're going to hear from this. Lanny did send me an email, and I'm going to read that to you guys. And Lanny, and the reason I'm going to do it this way is she gave me a copy of her statement to the judge and gave me permission to share that. So all of this stuff that I'm covering tonight's show, guys, will go out on a Substack tomorrow with links and PDFs. You guys, any of it that you want, you guys will be able to pick it up in the Substack tomorrow. So let's hear Lanny's and Mocha's update and some other people of interest that happened on Wednesday.
The COVID mandates were dropped a long time ago. That still continues.
Where is
It's
it?
a story of a business that is being crushed
Where's the
by the
volume?
almighty force of the Alberta Health Services. You're a pro bono lawyer representing a local business in Eckville, Alberta. How does it feel to fight against multiple government lawyers?
Well, it's challenging. Last time there were five, but this time, thankfully, there's only three. The reason we're here is for small Alberta business because this is about an access to justice issue. And this did start during COVID. And what happened was a lot of illegal conduct in terms of taking cash register receipts from a business. This business in Eckville, it sells coffee and it sells books. And what was happening was that AHS kept coming in and inspecting repetitively, more than 30 inspections. This business was closed 3 times, but the chilling part of this is just how those rules were enforced against them. This can happen to any Alberta business. It's now 3 years afterwards. And what's going on now is that we're in the court and we're finally having the public health appeals decision reviewed. But to open this up for you, this has been a 3-year journey and this family has been through it. Their business has been closed 3 times. They've had cash register receipts taken from them without a warrant under threat of arrest. The owner had quasi-criminal charges put against her just based on the AHS inspection reports alone. And the quasi-criminal charges had fines of $10,000 to $100,000 as well as 18 months in prison. So when those were placed against the owner, the other thing that happened as well was that the owner was not allowed to have legal representation because the same AHS inspectors who were inspecting the business, shutting it down, and had walked all these records to the Crown, they were also the Crown's key witnesses. So this also resulted in basically denial of legal representation. So when all of these serious issues come to a head, you got to say something. And I am just grateful to this family for doing what they've done. It takes a lot to stand up and say, no, this is not the rule of law. This is not Alberta or Canadian law. And I think what we set out, the main argument I want to give you in court is that the people never had the legal authority to enforce these mandates in the first place. Those CMOH orders, if we look at them, as well as the Public Health Act, they all say an individual must mask or must distance. They don't say that you can do this to your neighbor. And that's the point of this case, is that when you really think about this, probably the most troubling part of it, Mocha, is that the Canadians who complied with Canadian law the most were the ones who were enforced against the harshest. Cup of coffee, this is what we have to start asking ourselves, because the first time we went to court, the courts were rather concerned because this is over a cup of coffee. And, you know, our provincial government decided to regulate it, and they put it in our food regulation. And I think what we need to start asking our government and our politicians is, why aren't they taking the legislation out that they know are causing the problems now? So if we were to deregulate a cup of coffee, I'd like to know what the statistics are on, you know, harm, injury, death. You know, we're talking about Alberta businesses being prevented from earning a livelihood here. A lot of Albertans are wondering, why can this be called moot? This happened. You can't change what happened in the past. But here's the thing. We did overcome that challenge, because what AHS is doing, this is not moot. And it's actually ironic, because they actually go out and they post the inspection reports online. And so whenever you have an inspection, they're going to put that information out publicly. It doesn't matter if a judge or anybody else has reviewed it. That's what they deem to be correct. They will say that about your business and they'll post it. So does it become moot? Because those words don't go away. Now, ironically, last time we were in court, AHS announced they had changed their policy, and now they're removing those words after 3 years. But that's the problem, is that you're tried, convicted, and sentenced, and you don't even have the opportunity to be heard and state your side of the story. If you add corruption, over enforcement to that, you've got a recipe for disaster when it comes to small business. So,
well, it certainly is an eye opener for the public. The public should be aware of what is really happening. I cannot understand why AHS wants to bully people, like a small business, 5 people making a living or trying to make a living out of a coffee shop and a bookstore. They've used their extraordinary powers, or even overreach, actually, in many cases, it looks like, to do damage to this family. I don't understand it. You know, I know their counsel indicated that, you know, the process is the punishment. And truly, I believe that. For 3.5 years now, they've been fighting this matter. You know, there's something wrong with the way AHS is not accountable to the public anymore. It's accountable to only themselves, because they're a private corporation, and the government has given them authority to go and do these ugly things. You know, so what does that bode for the future of small business here? I'm troubled by that.
Now, you've been, as I understand, you've been a longtime MP, and I want to ask you, is there anything that the Premier of Alberta can do to help this family?
Yes, she can begin the process of getting rid of all the legislation that allowed this organization like AHS to do what they're doing. Just scrub it, get rid of it. And there's no reason why she can't. It can be a decision that she makes and just unravel it all, but hold them accountable still. They have to be held accountable for what they're doing to the small businessmen in this country or in this province and in these communities. So yes, she is very much aware. The Premier is aware of these, of this overreach by AHS. I think it's going to take just a major effort of will on her part and the cabinet to do something about it now. It's in her hands, because the future of small business is threatened here.
Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you would like to say?
Yes, I think there's a fundamental violation that has taken place here. The rights of ordinary citizens to have protection under the law is being threatened greatly here. I think that has to be renewed with a renewed confidence that the government is going to do and protect the people whom they are supposed to serve. And that doesn't seem to be happening.
If I may ask you, is there a place where people can donate to support you guys fighting back against AHS?
you know what? I'll be honest with you. We have we have a give send go, but the money, any money donated, will go to the Coots boys and to those families and to any other Albertan who is struggling with this type of a legal situation. The work I've done with this is only pro bono, and just true to the words, the family has not taken a dime from this. They won't, and neither will I. And that money will be used to bring justice for others. So give, send, go. That's where they have a Stacey's Happy Place set up.
Thank you very much. Do you have any last comments?
Thank you for being here. I think if we're going to bring change, we need to fill up our courthouses and we need to fill up our town halls. And I appreciate you being here, Mocha. Thank you.
Ah, that warms my heart because that statement at the end there, we need to fill the courtrooms. That was what Lanny asked me. She said in December, can we do something to fill the courtrooms? It will make a difference. So after that was Wednesday. I've been chatting with Lanny over the weekend, and they had been running her through the ringer. But I'm going to read to you guys here. Not going to you're not going to be able to see it, but I'm going to read to you her message to me yesterday on this, and then I'll follow it up with something else. She says, Wayne, we made it. I'm not typing this from inside the dumpster behind the courthouse. She's a funny lady. We do not have a decision yet, but I'll give you a call for real and fill you in. My brain is a bit fried, so I just need some sleep. My logic center has left me for now. I wouldn't know how to change a tire if it rolled off and hit me in the forehead. We had a receptive justice. She heard us and was all over AHS and PHAB lawyers. Difficult questions, easy for us to answer because we have the truth on our side. We're in a time now when we don't know what or whom to trust, so I have no idea how this will wash out, she says. Decisions should be forthcoming within a month. She says she's attached the oral arguments. I can post them if I like. This is the finale that explains the inverted law they subjected and are still subjecting us to. The beautiful part is that the people in court, our Alberta business people, understood it. To me, that was the victory of the day. That was the point. We'll talk soon. Okay, that was exactly the point in the victory. Now, this, guys, is where we all need to thank you for making this possible. You guys did this. She came to me. We put it out to the public. The public stepped up. They filled that courtroom. I was watching some of the texts and information that was coming out. People were paying attention. This is where accountability begins, by stepping up and taking responsibility in places like the courtroom. That's how we make the change, and that was only happened because of the What's Up Canada community. We did several shows, 3 or 4 in December, a couple of updates along the way, generated a lot of discussion. People are stepping up, and the courts are not willing to take the fall for the crooks, in my personal opinion. But she brought up something there called the, let's see if I can pull it up here for you guys. Something else here. She brought out the inverted law, and I am going to show you what she's referring to there. Okay, now guys, this is when I first met Lanny. She had written and published this. And I'm going to include a copy of this in the Substack tomorrow as well, because when she said they got it, and that was the point, that was the victory, was understanding, and the courts got it. Everybody understood where this inverted system of law was being pseudo manifested on all of us, and they understood this principle of inverted law. And I'm just going to read the first paragraph, and because it's 5 pages, I'm not going to torture you guys like that. But As Canadians, we are immersed in a divisive government agenda that is fracturing our communities and tearing down our culture. What you may not realize is that you are the key to the plan. The source of your confusion, anger, and frustration is the inverted system of law our government is imposing on us. Normally, when the government enacts laws, government officials uphold or enforce them against the individuals and corporations who are not in compliance. Under this inverted system of law, government imposes the responsibility for enforcement on you, the business owner. The doctors, the nurses, the principals, the teachers, the board members, etc., become the enforcers of their pseudo law. So this was an amazing paper. She recognized it, and this was a psychologist in her coming out at the beginning of the COVID. This is what she has been fighting in the last 3 years for in court. There's an amazing diagram here that lays it all out. So want to share this in the Substack, guys. Make sure you get plugged into our Substack, and I'll make sure you guys get links to all that. Actually, they're in the description as well. So that is a major victory in understanding, because now it is on the record in the courts that, wait a minute, this is really wrong and backwards. And this was made possible by you, the What's Up Canada community. That's just one of the things that you should be proud of yourselves for. So that's we'll get Lanny back in or on as soon as we possibly can. She's going to have a little bit of a breather in between in between this and the next hearing, so she's got about a month. So that's a huge victory, guys, making the courts say the words that this is wrong. So this is the path to accountability. She did go on to say at the end of that, Lanny's next task: deregulate a cup of coffee in Alberta. The government created the legislation. If the Conservatives are fixing this, as they say, why not give some power back to the people without bloodshed? I don't think it will cost any lives. So this brilliant lady deserves so much support. These are the real heroes of Alberta, guys, and I am so proud that we're able to give a voice and a platform for stories like this. These are vindications that everything we do means and matters for a lot of different stuff. So, where are we up next? The next big news. I almost missed this one, guys. Um, Head down, bum up. Yeah, if you know me, it's 120 hours a week glued to trying to serve truth to the greater parallel or to the greater universe. But this one almost got by me. But thankfully it was caught by somebody, so I'm going to start with this, and then we're going to dive into a little bit of what this all actually really means. All right, guys, so uh, enjoy. Happy anniversary, guys. 5 years. Um, when I first started down this path, I had no idea where it was going to take me, but I knew that at that time already I was taking risks and I was going to have to make decisions. And I made very conscious decisions to, at that time in 2019, to launch What's Up Canada, um, because you've heard me say it so many times, courage begets courage. And I knew that by doing what needed to be done, others would do it too. And so I took it from that point forward to do the work so you didn't have to. I had the skill sets other people didn't. I could take risks they couldn't. I could take risks others wouldn't. And all of it again was so that you wouldn't have to. I didn't have anything for them to take from me. I didn't have, I was self employed. Nobody had a job holding over my head. I didn't have a mortgage. I didn't have children. Didn't have any of those things. So I had nothing to lose. Nobody could buy me. So here we are 5 years later, and I'm still standing and doing this. It's because I've never changed. And I came across something here the other day that really spoke to me. And it's kind of says a lot about what I do and the way I do it. It to be trusted is a greater compliment than being loved. And I've learned that along the path of doing this program, because people have not always loved what I do, uh, because I called the truth. And a lot of people want me to be their cheerleader, their pom pom, their pitch deck, all of those things. And if it doesn't serve the people, I'm not interested. Um, so I'm still here because of that trust. I knew coming into this, and that was huge for me, was understanding that I was coming into this as a war correspondent, and the people that I was helping, I was giving them ammunition. That was how I've always looked at what I do here. And it's been the front What's Up Canada has been the tip of the spear, literally, of the information war for the last 5 years. We are the benchmark for what the enemy fears most. When Trudeau's looking around at who he fears most, it's communities like yours, this one. We've been on the tip of that spear for 5 years straight. And so when I realized here, already a couple of weeks after the actual anniversary, and somebody had suggested I put together a commemorative show to thank you guys, because it's you guys that have driven this show from the beginning. I only do the work. It happens because of you. Um, and I look through the when I was asked to put the video together, and I went to look at stories that matter, things that you guys might remember, and there's like 700 episodes of What's Up Canada, guys. You guys realize that we've been canceled and removed from more platforms than you could shake a stick at, but 700 episodes in the can, so many stories. And a lot of those people that were on those cards going by there, they've been lost in this battle. They've paid the ultimate price. They are no longer with us. And those were people whose testimonies you guys got to hear here on this platform. Um, over the past 5 years, Rich Higgins, without him screaming to the world about unrestricted warfare. And I see, so many of the teachings, so many of the people that have come across What's Up Canada first. And within that little video clip there, montage, I didn't even add in there, things like the international roundtables that we did, huge success. The Doctor Talk series, where so many of those people that first spoke in the public space in their lives did it to you here on our community at What's Up Canada, and went on to become legends and heroes in the fight, and we've all been able to come out and support them. So these are all things that are none of it would be possible. Again, I was willing to do the work, but it was you guys that made it possible through your support. And this is, so where we are, this was a real hit in my humble box when I see, the names coming across the screen there, and that's just, some of the people over those 700 episodes that have taken the risks. Um, and we took the risks. And when I first started doing this, there was nobody. And now look at the space that's out there, the environment. Those were because we, myself, and a couple of others were brave enough to step up and speak out and give our talents and use them to help others do the same and to provide an atmosphere. And if you tuned into the roundtable the other night, two things there of significance. As Sean, the host, graciously, acknowledged the whole concept of the roundtables. That was born here on What's Up Canada. We were the leaders of the way in that, and just Dan's or Dave speaking to us the other night. Why? Because there was after 10 years, there was a place where he was safe and secure enough in a community that it was worth him to take the risk. Bruce McGray, the guy that blew the whistle on the FAA and the crimes that they're committing, inspired by what they watched us do here in Canada. And where did he speak first? Here on What's Up Canada. These are people that are making life-altering decisions because of what you guys are able to keep going. And one of the other, I'm gonna try not to break the eye sockets here a little bit on this one. I've been very troubled over the last little while as to what I was going to do next. Things are challenging for me. Security and ability to move forward and continue my work is challenging at best most of the time. And there's a huge hurdle I've got a couple of weeks to overcome here. But I was really soul searching as to, what should be doing and what's next. And I get a call from a gentleman friend of mine, and he's been told that his time is limited, and he wants to work with me because he's been not a financial supporter, but an associate for a long time. And the point that he brought up, and that's what really kind of kicked me in the shorts, for lack of a better word, was he says, Wayne, if you quit, who's going to fill your space? What will be there in that space? Who's going to do what you do? And when I flash back to, through those stories that we were the leaders of the first time, uh, people saw or were introduced to the greater population was through this platforms. And so that's why What's Up Canada has become this trusted place where whistleblowers feel safe. People are feel safe to share their news. They know I will become Julian Assange to protect them if I have to. I've earned their respect. What's Up Canada is a place where the leaders go. If there are people that have their own platforms, they're probably only catching one or two shows a week. But those people, it's probably What's Up Canada that they're catching, because you're not the you're not seeing wash, rinse, repeat on What's Up Canada. The media space is full of people, and it's so different than What's Up Canada. When What's Up Canada first launched, there was nothing. And now there's so many, and people tell me that imitation is the highest form of flattery. Well, I have learned some things in this time, and no, it is not always the highest form of flattery, because there was a lot of people out there that take advantage of people's desire and hopes and emotions. And I really question sometimes where who do they serve? Do they amuse and entertain? Great. Do they pull your emotional strings, good, bad, or otherwise? Do they trigger you? Do they serve you in a way that helps you move forward with meaningful information, solutions, or useful value? and that I don't necessarily see being imitated across the board. So that's why I'm hoping that I can keep this party going, because I think that that's a valuable place where we need to keep the noise sorted. So that kind of came into some discussion with some people. What am I going to do about this? And so it was not entirely compiled by me personally myself, but so this is me making the case for What's Up Canada, because What's Up Canada is not so it's not about supporting me. When you support What's Up Canada, you're supporting the people that don't have the ability to access news. The most people. I've always said my news will not be behind a paywall. Why? Because I've had too many people in 5 years come up to me and tell me, "Your guest saved my life. That show saved my life." Right? That These are the things that make it impossible for me. I would never be able to live with myself if I heard that somebody somebody died because they couldn't get the information that I was had behind a $5 or an $8 paywall. I couldn't live with that. So there are a couple of places where people can optionally help, and I'll tell you, I'm eternally, eternally, eternally grateful for that. Uh, but it kind of helped me get focused in on what's next, in helping to sort the noise and making sure that you know it was important for people to understand the value of the platform. I'm not soliciting. I'm not out here doing this for myself. So, um, some of the things that set What's Up Canada apart and differently, platforms like Mr. Sunshine Baby, that bless him for sitting through all those hours of CPAC, but he's regurgitating stuff that's not never controversial, and he's never going to give you a direction for a solution. It's great. I go to him for my news clips, so I don't have to endure 8 to 10 hours of CPAC. But that's not so that's a different environment. He makes more than enough to live off of in that environment. What's Up Canada doesn't get any of those luxuries because we are, usually target number one for you know this dude, communist dictator, and the CBC. So it's pretty imperative for us that we're talking about the things that they're not. So if everybody else is doing it, I'm not doing it. If everybody else is covering it, I'm not covering it. If no one else is covering it, I'm probably covering it. If they're all having the same guest cycle through, they were probably on What's Up Canada first. If they weren't, I'm probably not doing it. I'm not into clickbait. My work is not, but never and never will be behind a paywall. There might be conveniences, extras, and add-ons down the road that might end up behind a paywall, but the truth will never be behind a paywall. I don't do things like crowdsourcing for my lawyer or my lifestyle. I promote others based on their value to you. They bring no value to me. If they align with and serve from the same place in their heart to you guys, if the information, the message that they have is important for you guys, if they are visionaries in what they're doing, that's where the work that you'll find on What's Up Canada. And so, what do I do? I want to work with the visionaries. This is where LGM.news comes in. This is a group of visionaries working together to do something that is different, to provide you guys with something that is secure, safe, and authentic, right? None of these people will put their stuff on here behind a paywall, and they will deliver you the most accurate, authentic news that you will find anywhere else. And we're just getting to been talking about some stuff that's coming on to this platform. Again, free to you to use, free for the content creators. This is about getting the truth because only the truth will set us free. So you can see here, we've got a breaking headlines section coming on there. We're just adding it in here. We'll start plugging in breaking news to that because we're going to be adding a press release service. So this is where we're going to be opening it up to all of the groups that are to get are creating generating the news and giving them a distribution point where we can make sure that everybody gets hot wired for the news and truth as they need it immediately. uh, Front page looks getting a lot cleaned up, guys, where you can see where shows are coming, when they're this one here, upcoming shows, already aired shows, different platforms, all that good stuff, guys. But this is important because we have to get off of the Silicon Valley junk that's owned by Zuckerberg and the corporations, right? So this is where oh, I wanted to show you guys this here just for a second. This is going to be the press release service. So what's going to happen here is groups, organizations, if they've got something that needs to go out immediately, they're going to get it to us, and we're going to plug it into our database of journalists and users so that they can get hot, immediate information on their platforms. So, one of the other things I've got to touch on is getting everybody on the platforms that are beyond Trudeau's reach. For now, we're regathering, regrouping. As you know, Rumble, What's Up Canada. Guys, I only see 5,000 of you guys over there. I know you guys are great for tuning in. It's because we're great for sharing links, and you guys can find us on other platforms. But get over there, get plugged in. Please follow us on there so that you can get notifications for what's coming up next, or where we're doing and where the community is regathering. For documentation, where I can add the PDFs, the files, the transcripts to all of those things, guys, over on Substack. Links for all of these platforms are in the show description wherever you're tuning in from. These I'm only going to be going over the top couple, where we are going to, as Trudeau starts taking down more of my platforms, and I am going to lose more of them. We're not going to be able to stream on Facebook, and it saddens me that I see so many people tuning in here on Facebook. That's why I'm doing this. Get plugged in elsewhere. Our communities cannot live or survive on Facebook. And here on Substack, it's whatsupcanada.substack.com. It allows me to add all of the bits and pieces of information, like I said, show transcripts, documentations, graphics, all of those things that I'm not able to share with you guys elsewhere. And when it comes to social media, guys, find me over on Liberty, LIBRTI. These are our people. These are your people. This is a Canadian made fighting back social media alternative to the Facebook. They are in the trenches with us. If you don't know Odessa, you've been hiding under a rock. We need to be regrouped in alternative places. The ones that I'm giving you are all free to access right now. So this is where we're regrouping on some of these other platforms. And the other social media, plan B, primarily in the US based, is Wimkin. Guys, this platform is 15 million strong. Um, First Amendment warriors. They've beat the Supreme Court. They're not going anywhere. Our news is first to them. They make us a priority, make our community a priority. Jason loves us up here and will do whatever he can to help us, you, the Canadian people, fight back the tyranny. And we're almost through this portion, guys. Spotify. You can now find us officially on Spotify as a Substack, or pardon me, as a podcast. We are joining the big leagues up there, guys. And then, last but not least, I'm back on X, simply because it is instant. It is real time, and it's the last bastion of being able to read and see things that others don't like, and connect with other people so that you can regroup elsewhere. As you know, we've been developing tools like Miro, LGM.news, guys. That's something for the future. We need to be prepared with a new and safe and secure environment outside of the reach of this technocracy. So, with all of this, there's point and purpose to all of the things that we do here, on the platform. Every last bit of it means something. There's a reason for them being connected to us, and I want to touch back on uh, some of the value again on what is this for people. You know, it's hard for me to think about not humbling myself to tell you guys the reality of the situation. Uh, I spend most of my time promoting others' platforms, their values, with those that serve from the right place, not the noise. Um, and never asked or charged anybody or demanded anything. I do have a couple of partners, but again, the partners that I have, and I'm going to pull them up here real quick to share with you guys. This is the What's Up Canada website. If you're not familiar, everything that I do comes to HQ, Ground Zero, Ground Central headquarters. I do have 3 partners, but these guys are, again, they're about providing value to you. Um, I hear people looking for answers all the time. People want to grow their own food. They don't have a farm. That's why we went and got tower gardens. Are they cheap? No. Are groceries or vegetables going, that the garbage that you're buying, the infested with garbage that you're paying money for in the stores, is that any cheaper? No, your health is on the line. So we made a partnership with Tower Gardens. You guys know all about the New World Precious Metals. Again, problem solving for you guys. These guys specialize in getting people's money out of your RRSPs and into something that you can actually use that will protect you with what is coming down the pipe. So you guys know all about that. I'm not going to dig into that one a lot. But this is another one where, our community here at What's Up Canada was leading the pack. We started working with Patriot Switch about 9 months ago, and in that period of time, I've seen things coming along that are just decimating people, and they're being blindsided. This one, for example, P&G, all of your laundry soaps are now dangerous and toxic and not safe for your kids to be around. Like, what's up with that? Chemicals now being linked to, in these from these same companies, being linked to autism, multiple sclerosis. It's finally coming to light, and these are some of the reasons why we went out and found somebody that doesn't do that. That and we're taking on, literally, BlackRock. Uh, is the biggest company that benefits from using our grocery stores, our convenience stores as toxic waste dumps and putting the blame on you. Oh, you did it wrong. Your kid is dead because you didn't, rinse your floor enough and they licked the floor. No, it's nonsense. It's unnecessary. And these guys are literally stealing your money every single day to poison you on the other side of the coin. These are the guys that 66 cents of every dollar that you give for keeping your family clean, for feeding your family, 66 cents of the dollar goes to the alphabet soup community and these guys to terror us and poison us through their nonprofits and their organizations. Well, this was what Patriot Switch meant to us, was an alternative model of profit sharing with safe products that aren't going to hurt anybody. We're not being carbon taxed to death on, and help being helpful to people. When you bear the burden of the cost, you also reap the benefits of the rewards, and that is what Patriot Switch has enabled our community to start doing 9 months ago. And now I was in a meeting yesterday with the largest group of influencers in the country, and what were they talking about? Bringing in Patriot Switch to their community. So, congratulations to you, visionaries, again, and early adopters that took part in this, and the community that was here to be able to provide you access to those kinds of things and information. And I mean, they weren't going to stop. We have to stop them. We have more than 2 million people gathered together now that are stopping them and taking $2 billion a year away from BlackRock, and we're just getting started. So you guys are going to be hearing about Patriot Switch from every corner of the universe, and I wanted to congratulate you guys for being on board first. With these monsters that are continuously poisoning people. It's what they live for. You can find all of this information, guys, on the What's Up Canada platform. There's a link in the toolbar, and it's the very first video there. This is again one of those things when there was problems, we went and found people that were willing to step up and provide alternatives and solutions, right? And there was a lot of things that really sold me about this, working with these guys. But at the end of the day, the number one question for me, and you can ask every one of the representatives that I deal with, will this serve the people first? That is rule criteria number one for me. And these three do. But it's again, this is about serving the people, providing them solutions that help them and serve them, not me. I don't do this for lifestyle. You don't see commercials, you don't see nonstop advertising on my platform. That being said, with the LGM platform, we are hoping some people that think like Patriot Switch people and would like to advertise and work with us, they would be hopefully. Get have an interest in stepping up and maybe looking at a business relationship with us. And again, the growing systems guys, again, not the cheapest thing you'll ever buy, but you get them while you can, while your money still will buy something. So this was a huge show for me tonight, guys. For when the magnitude of what had been accomplished over the last 5 years, because a few of us were brave and we went out there, and a few of you guys realized that you might not be able to do it, but if you were helping me, I would keep doing it. And the people that come back to this community and say thank you for doing it, I'm eternally grateful. Uh, and I just can't see people that matter left behind. So, yeah, uh, I pay the price. I make the enemies. I take the risks willingly so you don't have to. Provide a platform. My only request is from time to time, I need a little bit of help to keep and maintain the level of services that we're now providing. And that's where you come in. You don't have to support me financially. I get it. You can't. Not everybody can, and it doesn't take everybody. there's a lot of people that need support, um, but I can't help but wonder who we could reach, the difference that we could make, uh, and the people that can't afford to get behind the paywalls, pay for the memberships. Every time you do make a financial contribution to this platform, you're buying the news for a whole bunch of other people that you have no idea the level of impact that it's made on them. And I'm going to make a point of doing a project like that. So I'm going to start gathering, guys. If What's Up Canada, help me make my case. If What's Up Canada has made a positive impact for you and you want to see it going, send us an email at contact@whatsupcanada.org. And if you have contributed during the previous 5 years, please know that I appreciate your support more than words can say, to help make What's Up Canada so successful, so impactful. It's just I wake up every day wanting to do more. Be proud, guys. This success is yours too. I just did the work. If somebody does want to help, donations can be sent to donate@whatsupcanada.org. And it's a couple of times a year. There's usually some relocating involved in maintaining what I do and my security and privacy, and that time is coming up again. So I've got a hard target of raising $3,500 for relocation costs and making sure that I've got everything that I need to keep this going by May 15th, just before my birthday. Imagine that. Not that there's going to be any celebrations. If I get relocated, secure, and back up and running by then, that will be the party that I'll be looking for. So I love you guys more than you could possibly imagine. Words don't suffice. And I will never stop working. I will not let somebody in my community perish because the information they needed was behind a paywall. So, with that note, guys, I thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Huge things that almost escaped me. I never would have thought to celebrate this for you guys, but I was humbled and put in my place again with that. So I'm eternally grateful. I love y'all. Stay strong. Dude, guys, I've got some watch parties lining up that are going to blow your mind. That was supposed to be what was tonight was going to be, but I decided to do this instead. This was time sensitive and mission critical for the platform. So I love you guys all. Stay Canadian, stay strong, and believe it or not, guys, I think we got this. It ain't going to be easy, but I'm pretty sure we got him on the ropes, and uh, things they be a changing. So we'll probably see you on Monday. Love y'all. Stay Canadian, stay strong. Enjoy your weekend. Love your people, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for everything that you do in making sure that What's Up Canada is out there for those that need it. Bye for now.